Well, I've been told that I need to sit up in the chair, that I need to get ready for today's action, and that is appropriate. Of course, we had a lot of action yesterday, some of it very shocking and disturbing scenes. We see Liquid get taken to the brink and then beaten up on just a little bit more. That's something we're going to have to jump into and begin to talk about, and certainly will be a focal point of today's conversation. So we look to kick off the second day of the DreamHack Masters Spring 2020. My name is Trace Sorrenthis, and I'll be here with you throughout the duration. Don't you worry, you're also in some very good hands, but we'll be introducing those in due time. Today, we've got a ton of matches coming your way, and it's also important to note that this group will be wrapping up before we move on to the next one. So, with all of that said, let's kick off day 2 of the DreamHack Masters Spring 2020. Welcome, my beautiful panel. Some more beautiful than others, but I'll let you guys decide who I'm talking about. We have Potter, we have Bled, we have myself, and of course we have the DreamHack Master Spring 2020. Welcome back. Good morning. How did you sleep? And more importantly, don't even answer that. What I want to know, Christine, what is your current schedule like?
My current schedule is it's pretty wonky. It is currently 6:22 a.m. and we're already talking about Counter-Strike, Trace.
Yes, we certainly are that. Bleb, I can imagine it being just a normal time for you. You're just going through the motions, get your coffee, get it going.
It's almost like 5 in the afternoon, but woke up around 2, 3, so I'm ready.
True gamer schedule. True gamer schedule.
Yeah, there we go.
True gamer schedules. Now, speaking of schedules, yesterday we already executed one of the schedules. We already went ahead and had confirmation, shot it through, and sent it down the pipelines. Now, let's talk about some of the games yesterday and some of the things that you were able to take away. Christine, I know you were on the first and the last game, so that leaves a little Bled in the middle. What are we talking about?
Oh, man. I mean, you mentioned it, Trace, in the opening. We have to talk about Liquid versus Chaos, right? I mean, that loss that Liquid suffered yesterday, it was quite shocking. And it was confusing to note whether it was Chaos playing really well or if it was just Liquid losing the ball there, because we had Nav just popping off, getting multi-kills, having his highlight clips that we always know and love from Nav. But Elige, he was so quiet. He was missing shots that's just uncharacteristic from a player like Elige. And we had Chaos on the other side with Zeppa just showing up, popping off. He's not a name that any of us really ever heard of prior to this BO3 series. He's the newest member of Chaos, along with Voltage and along with Jonji. So, I mean, a lot of good signs from Chaos coming out, but a lot of worrying signs from Liquid as well.
And, you know, I would say a lot of those worrying signs for Liquid have been around for just a little while now. What's your take on this whole thing?
I agree with Potter, but I also feel like it's a combination of both, right? I think Chaos really did, I wouldn't say overperform, but they did come in prepared, although they lost the first map convincingly. But Liquid, I mean, you were the #1 team not a long time ago, right? You should be winning these with the eyes closed. And the way they were losing, it wasn't about, you know, some crazy, very close rounds going the way of Chaos either. I saw a few rounds, I couldn't watch a full game. Unfortunately, it was very late for me. But it was like Chaos just winning the final 2 maps pretty convincingly, if you think about it. It wasn't like an overtime matchup or something of that nature. So it is a worrying sign indeed, especially the best of 3 as well. I know we've spoken about an entire online thing and whatnot, but if you look at most of the top teams, they've managed to adapt to it. Sure, Fnatic have been having a rough run of late, but they look good online for EPL. You look at Astralis, you look at all the big dogs in EU, even in CIS. They've been able to adapt to the online phase. Liquid, what's going on there?
Yeah, Liquid having just a flurry of problems of their own, and I don't think it's necessarily playing online that's hindering them, whereas some teams playing on LAN hinders them. It's a weird sort of tug-of-war battle that we find ourselves in, but I think it's time that we took a very deep dive into what that means in online versus LAN play.
I think that online does reduce the amount of pressure that you have, but I think even then, like most LAN tournaments that you go to, the, I guess, preliminary stage is in kind of like a studio setting, and then when you qualify for the playoffs, that's when you're in the actual like setup in front of the crowds. And I think like getting to that playoff, that's a big leap.
I believe it's harder to play online for everybody. I just don't think it's just for underdogs. I think the better teams, they struggle more online because they're more used to LAN, and newer teams struggle a little on LAN. But I think at most is a little different, not too much.
The difference with online and offline is the fact that even though you know you're playing an important tournament, it doesn't feel like it, you know. So you're not 100% involved in a tournament atmosphere.
I really like it more at home, like playing right now, because I haven't had that much experience with dealing with a crowd yet. At home I feel a lot more comfortable, so I just play on my own game, don't have the nerves.
It is different, because normally you have this high five, you can see the fire in your teammate's eyes if he's like hyped, or you can see if he's down, so you have a chance to kind of get him up and get into the zone where he can perform the best.
Hey, what's up? Pound it. Pound it.
Yeah. Oh, wait, what?
Yeah,
oh, you mean over there? How did you understand? I wasn't looking at...
It's adding a little bit of pressure on the top dogs because like they all of a sudden play up against these lower tier teams that maybe have played the majority of their career at home and playing online, playing qualifiers for different tournaments. And now all of a sudden they might be playing these tournaments online from home as well, where we are a lot more like set up for the matches that happens in different locations throughout the world and on live stages. It is a different environment, and it's just something you have to accept. But I would say it's just a really bad excuse if you say like, oh, it's because it's online and people are playing better because of blah blah. I mean, like, there's no excuses. Like, it's the same game, it's just a little bit different. But if you can't set yourself up for like 100%, then you should probably consider doing something else.
And that's Dupree recommending a career change for all of you onliners out there. What's your take on that one, Christine and Bled?
I think I mean it's obviously blatantly clear that online versus LAN, there are large differences. Even for you and me and Blay here on the desk, it's different. Just us knowing when to talk. You know, when we're in real life on the desk together, we have verbal cues, body cues, physical cues that allow you to know exactly when it's your time to shine. And it's the same for these players as well, right? So just these small differences that these players have to start getting used to in this online environment.
Yeah, I agree with you. At the same time, I also agree with Dupree, where it's like, look, you've had a time to adapt to the change, right? You might have struggled initially, but the hallmark of a great team are your fundamentals. Your comms should be strong enough. All the basics should be good enough. That doesn't matter if you're playing, you know, backstage in a LAN in a LAN tournament, on stage in front of a crowd in your bedrooms. Doesn't really matter. Your fundamentals should be strong enough if you're a good enough team to be able to, you know, win some of these games more convincingly than the way Liquid has so far. So I kind of agree with them. I mean, you might need to change the jobs. Not yet for Liquid. I still believe they are a very good team. But I think these are a little bit of worrying signs, considering, at least for the foreseeable future, we don't know, you know, if we're going to be seeing LAN play coming up anytime soon. So what's going to happen maybe in the next couple of months? Are they really going to drop off that far? That is a worrying thing for any Liquid fan out there.
Which is the strangest part of this whole conundrum. Obviously, there's this little bit of a global situation. So at least for us, whether we're doing it online or on LAN, I'm glad that we're able to sort of bring this entertainment, or bring something of an attempt at entertainment via us to you out there watching from home. Maybe you're stuck indoors, maybe times are rough, but I'm glad that we could be there for you every step and every turn of the way. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and turn the page and start to take a look at the tournament itself. The format is not as easy to grab on for some teams like Liquid, who will now be starting with a loss. Can we go ahead and explain how this works, Blair?
Yeah, it's pretty simple, right? 4 groups of 4 for the EU region. The same thing, similar thing for EU as for NA as well. You have 4 teams per group. It's going to be a round-robin format. Every team plays each other, and it's a best of 3. You win. You come on top of your groups. You move on through straight to the upper bracket of the double elimination playoffs. You come second and third. You get seeded into the lower bracket. You come last in your group. You're out of here.
Adios. Adios, muchachos. Now, let's take a look at the teams. We do have both EU and NA. We have both going simultaneously. But again, groups will not conclude until we the next groups will not be starting until we conclude the group prior. So currently on Group A, Astralis, G2, North, Heroic. And so far, so good. Things have been a little bit sprightly over here. Now, for the rest of these groups, we can only speculate as to how they're going. But just kind of humor me that, Christine. What are we looking at?
I mean, we're looking at some stacked teams, right? I mean, just look at Group C, look at Group D. I'm looking specifically towards Na'Vi. I mentioned it yesterday, but I got to mention it again. Boomich, he's finally starting to solidify his playstyle within that squad. I mean, after their IEM Katowice first place win, I'm expecting them to just have it ignite a fire within them. And I'm hoping that Perfecto, he's found his rhythm within that squad. Right. So I'm looking most forward to Group D here. I think it's all up in the air.
So we have our teams here, we have our groups here, we also have the North American side of things, and I just kind of think it would be a lot easier to look at North American teams, albeit there are only 8 of them, and say, all right, who's going to have trouble getting through this one? We've already seen that Chaos can beat up on Liquid, but overall, which one of you want to take this brave task of saying which teams are going to suck going forward in this bracket?
That's hard to say. I mean, like, obviously, Potter, you're a bit more invested in the North American scene. But considering yesterday's results, I think it's wide open. The Group A, I feel, is a little bit more clear-cut. MIBR, they're lost right now. Liquid struggling online. Furious seems to be the clear front runner at the moment. I still don't know if Chaos can they can reproduce the results they had yesterday against the likes of Furia or even MIBR, considering they're struggling as well. Group B is what I'm excited about. EG, 100 Thieves, who have looked a little rough of late. They've lost Kassad, Genji, who've been looking so great alongside Cloud9. I think Group B is pretty much a group of death here, right?
Yeah, I think you have to agree.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Christine, I was just going to say, this Cloud9 lineup has actually kind of surprised some teams and some people. What do you think about the new Cloud9, Christine?
I love the new Cloud9 lineup. I mean, they even surprised me, right? I mean, when I spoke about them at first, I said, I'm not seeing it. I'm not sure exactly where they're going to find that superstar, that the firepower that's needed to be actual contender, to be a top 5 team, a top 10 team in the world. But they've been proving me wrong since day one. I mean, this young group, they seem like a really nice organic group of players that just got together. They're starting to find some success together, and it's absolutely showing. And it seems like this young group, they have a lot of fun together as well. You can see it in their videos, and I think that's really important for a young team to start building synergy together, to start developing trust within each other, to have a successful team.
Yeah. Now, let's just pause there on the back of successful team, Christine, because there was a Cloud9 that won a major at one point. Now, this Cloud9, do we see them getting even close to that just yet?
Oof, that's a tough question. As I mentioned, they're a young team. And so the expectations, I think we have to drop them just a little bit. They're still in their development stage. They're still trying to figure out exactly what kind of team they want to be moving forward. So yeah, Cloud9 as an organization, they've absolutely won the majors before. This Cloud9, I think they're still a little bit of ways from actually having that be their #1 goal.
So they're somewhere in between Clown9 and Cloud9 is what you're saying.
Somewhere in between
they're
those,
somewhere on the gradient there that makes sense. And you know, I can understand that. I can see that. I can reason with that. Moreover, I could rhyme with that. I'd rather not, though. I'd rather us talk about what matches we have to look forward to today. No Cloud9 going to be featured over here within our 2 first games, or even the third. Imagine that. G2 and Heroic first, and then Astralis North thereafter. So some Danish dynamite, some Danish derby, all the stuff that you would normally say, the normal cliches. I just think that at this point, it's Astralis that are looking to come out and continue some of the pattern they've started with Yugi.
Yeah, it's an interesting series of matchups. Obviously, G2 losing yesterday against North was, I think, a wake-up call, a punch in the gut, so to speak. Right, that should have been a game they should have won easily. Bear in mind, it's a round-robin format. They're the one team here who have been together for a while. Heroic are comparatively a new lineup. Astralis are playing with Yugi for the very first time, and of course, we have North who have a stand-in playing it. G2 are supposed to be on top of this group if you really look at it, right? And they lost yesterday, so they'll be looking to win here today, not just scrape a win, but to be much more convincing. And of course, Astralis versus North, stand-in versus stand-in. It's going to be fun.
Of course it's going to be fun, and that's what we're here for right now, is to get into the fun. Now, we do need to thank all of those that made this very much possible. Without the sponsors, without the viewers, I've already thanked you many a times. Might as well do it once more. Thank you to the viewers, but moreover, thank you to the partners of DreamHack Masters for making this happen, to include Corsair, Intel, Monster, DTS, which do some pretty cool stuff with sound, by the way, AT&T, and of course, Betway to round out that list. We go to a break, we come back, and we start to talk about what is coming up here on the docket for the DreamHack Masters 2020 in the springtime, baby. Let's BRB.